So finally, they did it. They finally did it. Of course, this is just a PTS, but they finally touched the damage bonus from VATS critical. And not even the damage bonus, they also touched the critical frequency. I'm quite surprised actually. But obviously, I think they didn't watch my video and they didn't listen to me because who am I? But because I actually like prefer they fix the technical issue from the VATS itself before touching any numbers, touching any formula. Because even right now in the current server, the VATS doesn't work like correctly. It has some kind of like inconsistencies between, and it always like that since before. Even though it's different now, it was never perfect. It was never correctly implemented. So I think at this point, instead of changing all these numbers right here, which I won't read one by one because it's just actually the same, but they just changed the multiply from multiplicative to additive. But instead of changing this number, they should just implement the VATS correctly. Like, I just want that for now. Of course, with the VATS fix, that will makes like all the weapons like railway rifle and cross plasma even worse. I mean, even getting stronger and stronger because critical hits will be reliable. But I think that's the only way you can tweak the number afterwards. Because if you think about it, in the future that people will complain again about how FATS implementation works, because probably it's got like some delay with some lags and unreliability. So this number is just a waste of time. This new formula is just waste of time. Because they will need to tweak it again later. They should just try to fix the FATS implementation. That's it. Make FATS perfectly first. It was never perfect before, so you have to get it right, Bethesda. That's the only way, and after that, or at the same time, you can just tweak the numbers. I think, like from the discussion on Data Miner Discord, the damage bonus, because of this number changes also, so the damage difference is not that big. I mean, with this change, like our damage will be a bit lower, but it's not that much weaker. Also, not only that, this part is I strongly disagree. Like, I think the old one, I mean the current one in the current version, 24 luck plus 50%, 15% fast critical feel faster, or 33 with unyielding is like a golden number. I think that's perfect. It's a good design for me. But this number is just like overcomplicated. I think they just discuss and think about it too much. So let's see what's the dev comment. Our main motivation for making these changes came after a previous fix for incorrect Pip-Boy numbers. Once we did that, we found that understanding the gains that specific bonuses were giving didn't feel very intuitive as a player. Sometimes 30% was really good and sometimes it wasn't. Okay, I agree with this. Like, I think the difference like between Guns and Bullet 3 and Live and Love 3 is kind of like far away. That's why I prefer Guns and Bullets, because Guns and Bullets like provides far more huge DPS than Live and Love 3. Despite if you just calculate the percentage, it's just like 10% difference, but in the actual formula for the math, doesn't work like that currently. So yeah, if they attempt to fix this one, sure, I think changing to additive could be a good idea because it's easier to calculate. I don't know. I just don't agree with this part because these changes doesn't really affect our DPS that much, so I don't really mind. I just I just don't like this one because it just waste of time and effort for them. But if this is the motive, so I think okay, fair enough. This should make the overall player experience better, while addressing some less common high-end builds that were overperforming. Is that me? Less common high-end builds that were overperforming. Okay, so obviously this one is not a legacy explosive energy weapons build because it's not less common. It also doesn't really use VATS at all. So yeah, it's obviously some kind of like railway rifle or unclave plasma flamer for sure. Those IN builds should still be powerful, agree, with the above changes, just a little harder to achieve. So the problem is those changes also affect the low end or mid tier builds, I guess. It's just because you nerf the critical frequency. I think if you remove this one, I think if you remove this one, they also better don't do anything then. Anyway, since we kill like 99.99% of the enemies just like one or two tap, or maybe just like at maximum five taps. So I think this fat script nerf is unnecessary anyway, because like the most visible, the most visible difference between fat script build and just heavy gunners build is just when you're fighting a boss, right? So the problem is, for me actually, the problem is in the boss itself. So how they implement the damage resistance. So currently, for example, Scorch Beast Queen has 70% hidden resistance, and Earl has 80% damage resistance, hidden resistance. Those resistance like straight up cut your damage by percentage. However, I have no idea how it works like with the formula, but apparently it's kind of like, I don't know if it's totally ignored or partially ignored in the critical formula. That's why I can, for example, with Enclave Plasma, my normal hits just 60. The critical was like 800 with the in the current patch after the energy damage buff. So it's almost like more than, I mean, it's more than 10 times multiplier. It's just crazy and doesn't make any sense. So I think the simplest solution is just like remove all those hidden resistance and put much higher health pool to the bosses. But although it's like sounds really simple, but it actually doesn't. And I probably get a hate about this. That's because of energy explosives weapon. If they remove all those resistance, now all legacy energy explosive weapon will beat the shit out of any fat build. Don't get me wrong, I'm against all the removal of the legacy energy explosive. I don't like that. So I think the solution is just to fix the energy explosive weapons. Or I think just reducing it, toning it down a little bit is just okay, I think. But on the positive side, if they remove the damage resistance, like all explosive builds like M79 grenade launcher, auto grenade launcher will get a like have a chance against Scorchbeast Queen and Earl, I think. But that's just my opinion, so let me know what you think in the comments below. And please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and have a good day.